Hello everyone, today we're going to be doing some tips and tricks for idle clans. This is a newish idle game inspired by RuneScape, OSRS mainly, and Melville Idle, but this game has a lot of multiplayer aspects which make it different to a lot of the other idle games that are out. So these tips and tricks is going to be mainly for new players, so if you've been playing the game for a while, you'll probably already know everything I'm going to say, but I won't complain if you watch through anyway. So most of these will just be making sure you're progressing as much as you possibly can, as quickly as you possibly can, because this game will take you months and months and months to max out. I've been playing this game inconsistently for about a year now. Still not max levels. So it takes a while to get through this game, but let's get right into it. So the first tip I have is making sure that you are leveling efficiently as you possibly can be. So I made this mistake on one of my alt accounts, which is getting one skill to level 120 straight off the bat. That's probably not the best way to go. Normally you want to get completionist capes. This is what you're going for. If you get these, it's 1 mil for tier 1, for example, and it saves you buying tier 1s for 500k for every single skill. Saves you a lot of money, and it's also good goals, because these are really good capes for combat. They're really good for skilling. You'll spend a lot less money. So leveling up one skill to 90, moving on to the next skill until you have all of them at 90, getting the completionist cape, and then going for 100 for tier 2, 110 for tier 3, then 120 for tier 4. It'll save you money, it'll save you time, you'll have a really good cape to do combat with. So yeah, making sure you don't go straight for the big 120s unless, of course, you're going towards raids, or you want to have a combat, like a key farming account, then that's an exception. But generally, if you're trying to level up an account, trying to get it to maxed out, completionist capes, 90, 100, 110, 120, those are the levels you want to go for. So in the last tip, I mentioned that you might not want to go for completionist capes if you are going for either combat or raids. Raids are ridiculously good money. This is the best money-making method in the game, full stop, no competition. Guardians of the Citadel gives you a little less money. Reckoning of the Gods gives you more money, but this one is more active. I personally prefer Guardians of the Citadel, as you can see in my PVM stats. I have done a lot more Guardians of the Citadel. I love this raid. Very easy to do in the background while you're doing other things. But yeah, so if you want to get into Reckoning of the Gods, you do need to skill rush plundering. Plundering is super important. You will find so many parties if you have high plundering level. Probably around 110 to 120. It shouldn't take you longer than a few weeks. Having that is good, and then having fishing and cooking as well. But also making sure you have the right archery levels, attack levels, and smithing levels to be able to wield and upgrade weapons in the raids. Those are super important to consider. Getting into raids is super good money, which you will need if you want to be, getting all of your godlike tools, all that kind of stuff. You want to be making sure that you do raids to earn enough money to fund it. So for this next tip, this is going to have to do with your upper combat levels. The first 90 is pretty easy. It shouldn't take you longer than a few days to maybe a few weeks. When you're at the higher end of the levels, it takes a ridiculous amount of time to get even 1 or 2 levels. So making sure you're wearing the right combat gear for the right monsters is super important. So all of these monsters have weaknesses, well, not the woods. All of these monsters here have weaknesses, so making sure you're using the right weakness for the right monster. So for melee, that's slash, stab, crush, and pound. And then there's just magic and archery. Making sure you're using the right one is super important. You need to be wearing the right gear as well, the right armor, the right boots, the right gloves, the right ring and bracelet. Pets also help. Cape, shield, even your tool belt. So I'll chuck a link to the combat gear guide in the description. So check that out. That'll help you a lot. So the next tip I have is it's related to this thing here, the premium membership token. You can buy it in the shop for $10 US, or you can buy it from other players. They normally sit around 40 mil. They've gone up a bit recently, and they will continue to do so. So making sure you have a good money making method, whether that be raids, obviously being the best, but if you can't get into raids, smithing titanium bars, mining up the ore on your alt accounts and then smithing them on a main, super good money. You just buy up the coal, it's super cheap, you'll earn a bunch of money. But making sure you get this is super important. It gives you access to enchanting, farming, and agility. Agility is not super important, but enchanting is such a good skill. You need to be having your gear fully enchanted as soon as you can. It is absolutely overpowered, the boosts that you get from it. So making sure you prioritize getting one of these as soon as you can afford it. Now for this next tip, making sure you're in a high level clan. Clans have these things called properties or houses. As they level up, you will get massive boosts to your skilling XP. So if you're in a clan with a barn, for example, 10%, not much. If you move to a tier 6 clan, that's a 30% boost. It's a big deal. It does a lot. As well as making sure your clan has all of the relevant upgrades. Gatherers is probably one of the most important ones for skilling. Bullseye is super important for combat. Yoink is an incredibly important upgrade. Making sure your clan has all of these upgrades is super important. You don't want to be in a clan that doesn't have these upgrades. A lot of clans that are tier 5 or tier 6 with most of the upgrades are very willing to accept new players. A lot of them have empty spots, inactive players. Even if they look full, they will be looking for new players to fill in the slots. As well, getting these claimable items. This is from the new skilling parties. You get a ridiculous amount of loot from these, whether that be here. We see we've got people with unclaimed pets, multiple pets, gloves, a decent amount of loot. You can get a few 100k to a few mil from doing these events. This is super important. You get a lot of XP as well. Participating in them is good. Even if you don't, you'll still get the rewards from them. So that is the skilling parties, and the crafting and gathering events. Not as important, but they're still helpful for getting XP and loot. And the last tip I have is to do with your loadouts. Making sure you've got all of your loadouts set up. You can swap easily between them. Making sure you have the best in slot gear available. Now there's a link to the Idle Clans wiki that I'll leave in the description down below that does tell you what the best in slot gear is for each of the different skills. Make sure you're using that unless it's ridiculously expensive. I'd recommend not going for otherworldly tools unless you really have the disposable income. Other than that, it is not worth it. Making sure if you have your skilling gloves, which are a new addition with the skilling parties and clans, making sure you have those equipped. Making sure you have your pet if you want to. You can set it to doing one thing, but generally it's good to stick with whatever you're doing, have your pet doing the same thing. Making sure you've got your best cape equipped, all of your accessories with all of the enchantments, making sure you're not missing out on any enchantments, and making sure if you can afford it, grab one of these. Auto loadout token, absolute lifesaver. It is so helpful. You go in here, you set it up, and then you can do your questing automatically. It is really good. It's going to save you a lot of time in the long run. Even if you're looking, 61% compared to 55%. Doesn't seem like much, but it does help out a lot in the long run. And that's all for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please let me know. If you have any ideas for any videos you want me to make, please let me know. I'm happy to make any guides, any money making method videos, any of those kind of things. So yeah, please let me know in the comments if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.